There is never an equal amount of love in a relationship. One person will always love the other person more than he or she is being loved. You see, love is not just an emotion. Love is also a choice. That feeling of affection you have for your woman, that is the emotional aspect of love. But when you love her beyond feelings, such that you understand her strengths and weaknesses, but you still go on to commit to her, then you are no longer operating at the level of emotions or feelings. You are now operating at the level of choice, and that is still love. So whether by emotions or by choice on the side of either the man or woman, there is never an equal amount of love. Now, some men who do not really have what I call the Vamos orientation, they usually love with their hearts and not with their heads. Of course, love comes out of the heart, but when I say you are loving with your heart, I mean that you have become so emotionally attached to her that you do not have the guts to take disciplinary actions on her when she messes up. And then loving with your head means that you are very objective in your relationship and you are able to balance your sense of reason with your emotions. See, women are babies in adult bodies and they are ruled by their emotions. They are loyal to their feelings. Most of the decisions they make is being born out of their emotions, out of how they feel about a certain thing. They don't do what is right, they do what feels right. So when you allow her emotions to prevail over everything in the relationship that concerns you and her, bro, you are simply setting yourself up for chaos. So back to the point, there is never an equal amount of love in a relationship. One person will always love the other person more than he or she is being loved.
Talk true.
One person will always submit to the other person. One person will always be led by the other person.
You think it's a joke?
So you can see that with these arrangements, one person is obviously the captain of the ship and the other person is the crew. And this can go either way. Either the man or the woman could be the captain and the other person is following. And this depends on the personalities, the individuals that are involved in the relationship, and this narrative which we call power dynamics. Because you can see that in some relationships, it is the woman that is calling the shots. She is deciding how things are to be run. She is taking the lead and the man is following. While in other relationships, it is the man that is calling the shots and deciding how things are to be run, and the woman submissively follows. And the reason why this is so, going either way, is because one person is more emotional than the other person. And like I said, the man could be more emotional than the woman, or the woman could be more emotional than the man. Of course, naturally, by design, women are more emotional than men, and men are more logical than women. And that is because of the dominance of the feminine energy that women have by nature, and also the dominance of the masculine energy that men have inside them by nature. But the thing is that there are some men that have become more emotional than some women, and that is because of the environment they grew up in, or the kind of upbringing they had while they were being raised. Men have masculine energy, but they also have some feminine energy in them. And then when you see a man that is more emotional than logical, it is because over time he has allowed his feminine energy in him to have more expression than the masculine energy in him. So in the relationship, the person that is more emotional usually takes on the submissive role, and then the person that is less emotional and more objective usually takes on the leading role, and the other person follows. And again, it could go either way. So in this narrative of power dynamics, there are two things that majorly determines who takes the lead and who follows: the sexual power and the financial power. So let's talk about the sexual power first.
Let's have it.
You see, women are the gatekeepers of sex, and by this I mean that a woman decides whether the sex holds or not. A woman decides whom she opens her leg for. And even though women love and want sex more than men do, men actually need sex more than women do. Okay, this is not the time to argue whether what I am saying is actually correct or not. But since women understand the need that men have for sex, and then nature has made her a gatekeeper of what men need, this is the sexual power that she is flexing and controlling right there. They no born you well, make you enter there when they no give you pass. You will go to jail for rape case.
You don't know why it's going on.
And this is the reason why you will hear a woman will tell you no sex till after marriage, or when she is not sure, she doesn't yet have the guarantee that you are going to commit to her after she opens her legs for you, she will simply lock it up. And then some men will now go and start lying and be promising the woman relationship or marriage. Immediately they don't chop, knock 1 or 2 times, clean mouth, they don't go. And then there is this narrative that says that a woman fucks whom she wants, but a man fucks whom he can. It is the sexual power dynamics we are talking about. That is the power that nature has given to a woman freely. Next is financial power.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. I want you to jump. Get ready, get ready.
So while women are the gatekeepers of sex, men are the gatekeepers of commitment and marriage. By this, I mean that it is a woman that determines whether the sex happens or not, or it is the man that determines whether to commit to a woman and marry her or not. 50-50. The game is brutal, but it's still fair. By nature, men are providers of love, affection, attention, protection, security, moral and emotional support, anything provision you can ever think of. Men are providers. And economically, a man is expected to provide for the needs of his wife and his family. So even though in this modern day women work and they're expected to support their family from time to time with some financial needs, the major responsibility of providing rests on the man. And even though there are many women who earn more money than some men today, men are generally the sponsors of major financial projects. And no matter how much a woman makes, she still expects her man to provide for her financially. And in general perspectives, if you even want to look at it, even though some women have more financial resources than some men, it is men who enable these women to get to that height. The systems, the facilities that these women are using to reach that height, it is men who built them, it is men who established them, and it is men who are running them.
Okay.
And let's not forget, the money that most of these women are claiming today, that they are self-made millionaires, they are boss ladies, they are strong and independent women, this money they made, most of them got it by the connections that men gave to them, sometimes in exchange for sex. Now let's be honest, we know these things. Now let's stop pretending as if we don't know these things. Me and you, we know. Me and you, we know.
Waiting this one, Papa, they talk for you.
So men are scattered everywhere in the corridors of power, providing financial aid, financial support, taking care of financial responsibilities, because nature has given men that financial power in the scheme of power dynamics. And most women in relationships and marriages today, they do not love their men. They only accepted the proposals and the advances of these men simply because they want to escape something. They want to escape boredom, they want to escape loneliness, they want to escape poverty. Majority of women date and marry for convenience, not for love. Convenience in the sense that they prioritize their financial needs over everything else. And since it is men who are bestowed and endowed with this financial power, they simply submit to the men in order for them to get whatever they want, whether their submission is being genuine or their submission is being born out of their need or desperation for something. So nature has given men that financial power, but there are some men that are lagging behind seriously in their financial responsibilities. So many men are broke. So imagine that as a man, you do not control the sexual power, because already women are the gatekeepers of sex. Then imagine that you do not also have the financial power. You do not control the financial power in your relationship or in your marriage. Also imagine that the woman who already controls the sexual power, she now earns more money than you and she controls the financial power. Baba, you are finished though, you are gone. Your own don't be. That is full power control that she has. And see, women are not good with handling power. If you give them any power, be it sexual power, financial power, or any power at all, bro, they'll use it to manipulate you, they'll use it to punish you, they'll use it to control you, and make sure you submit to them so that they can use you to do whatever it is they want to do. Power is sweet, but in the hands of a woman, it is fire. And when you give it to her, she will use that fire and burn you. So in many relationships, the woman controls the sexual power and the man controls the financial power. That's 50-50. Fair enough. In other relationships, the woman controls both the sexual power and the financial power. And that is brutal. That is utterly dangerous. And then in other relationships, the man controls the sexual power and the woman controls the financial power. That is still 50-50. And it is still fair enough. But though we rarely see these cases, but they are possible, it happens. And then in other relationships again, the man controls both the sexual power and the financial power. That is 100%, and that is the ideal, what every man would love to control in the scheme of power dynamics. Well, a lot of men do not really believe that this is actually possible for them to control both the financial power and the sexual power, given the fact that women are the gatekeepers of sex and nature has given them that control over sexual power. Some men still do not believe that a man can control the sexual power. But I have taught many men, thousands of men, how to achieve this using the techniques in my course, The Ultimate Bad Boy Formula, and the other orientation that I teach in the Vamos University. If you want to know about the Bad Boy Formula course, simply click on the link in my bio or anywhere around my social handles and, check it out. So all these things put together is what determines who leads the relationship and who follows. And that is where game comes in. And when I say game, I'm not talking about the mind games that people play in relationships. Neither am I talking about video games like PS5, Mortal Kombat, or Call of Duty, or any kind of video game at all. I'm talking about the social interaction skills that allows you to interact and relate with women the proper way, the way it is supposed to be, not the way they say they want it to be. Because what a woman says she wants and what she actually wants are two different things. The kind of orientation that will give you the bolts and nuts for you to understand women's psychology, women's emotional build-up, women manipulation techniques, and everything about them in order to help you to shield yourself and make yourself immune to their manipulations. So you will not submit to them, but rather you take the lead and they follow, and then you make the power dynamics to swing in your own favor. Yes, a lot of men are clueless and ignorant about these things, and that is why they simp hard for women, and women end up using them and burning them and making them to breathe dust. And some, out of carelessness and sometimes ignorance, they hand over both the financial power and the sexual power to the woman, become so emotionally attached to her such that they depend on her for their peace and happiness, and that is how the woman begins to lead them, and they submit to the woman's leadership. That is how they begin to have issues. And since women cannot handle power, power is fire in her hands, and if you give her that fire, she will use it to burn you and afterwards burn herself, and both of you will quench. Power dynamics.
We are extremely happy. We are extremely happy. I don't know whether you can define the word extremely.
So if you want to learn more about these things, understanding how to handle women the proper way, the way they are meant to be handled, not the way they say they want to be handled, and building up yourself, leveling up your game skills, and increasing your value as a man, and retaining your masculine frame, just stick around here with me, watch some of my other videos, pay attention, listen, learn, and apply, and I guarantee you are going to pick one or two things that will tweak your mindset and equip you with the kind of orientation you need in this woke generation to be able to interact with and relate with the women you desire, and most importantly, take full control of your life. That is where you get and restore your full masculine glory in your purpose, your mission, your goals, and everything that has to do with your masculinity. Learn and apply. Vamos.